Trump signed a peace treaty with the Taliban. So we signed an agreement like, hey, like we're going to give you this province. If you give us 24 hours to pull out his province, we'll give it to you. That's going to be your own little area. Kentucky Pancho, president of Axe Handle Crew, Philly Warlocks. I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Kentucky Pancho. What's up, man?
What's going on, man? Good to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for taking the time to come on my show. I appreciate it. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. Lived off Queen City Avenue in South Fairmont.
What was it like, your early life?
Well, I was the only white boy around, so, went through some stuff, during school and everything. My dad's a hardworking man. He saved up a lot of money and got us out of there and moved us out to the east side in Amelia.
In Ohio?
Yeah, in Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about Ohio. I'm from
eastern side of Cincinnati. Yeah.
Was it a big change?
Yeah, it was quite a change. From going to that, living in the hood, moved out to suburbs. Yeah, it's a pretty big change, but for the better, I would say, for sure.
When did you start getting involved with motorcycles?
My dad had Harleys when I was growing up as a kid. And I just always kind of, was drawn to that, in a way. When I got older, that's what I wanted, was ride a Harley.
Was there motorcycle clubs around your area when you were younger?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's quite a bit of them. I'm not going to throw any names out there. You can look up Cincinnati and you can see who's around here.
Was your club out there at the time?
No, sir. No.
What was your first interaction with clubs?
When I got out of the military, well, my first club member I've met, I was actually 16 years old. I was working at Advanced Auto Parts, and I seen a guy walk in, and I'm like, and I seen a tattoo on the side of his neck. I'm like, well, man, you're with them guys, And he's like, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, and basically just like talked to him a little bit. I was always intrigued about it, and he basically said he painted motorcycles and stuff like that.
I think a lot of people are intrigued by it.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's pretty interesting,
Yeah.
You see a lot of stuff on the media, the news and stuff like that. And it's like, like, whoa, like.
They try to paint a really bad picture of 1%.
Yeah, they do. I'm the type of person, I give everyone a fair shake, like I'll paint my own picture for myself.
What was your military experience like?
I always knew I was going to go into the military at a young age. So I already had that painted in my head. My dad kind of like pushed me towards that in a way. Like he's like, look, son, like, don't screw it up like I did. He's like, women will screw a lot of crap up for you. He's like, don't get caught up into, in the nookie, and just go out and do it. So yeah, as soon as I graduated,
he's right.
Yeah. As I graduated high school, I signed up, for I had to take my ASVAB twice. The first time I took it, I was hungover and I was like, I don't really give a crap. Second time I took it, and the lowest score you can get was a 42, and that's what I got, was a 42. So I'm like, hey, sounds good. I'm like, what can I get? You're like, oh, you can get infantry. I'm like, bet, send it.
So where do you go from there? Do you start off in your state, or do they send you off?
You got to go from there. You got to go to MEPS. That's in processing center. You got to stay the night up there. That's in Columbus. Yeah, you stay the night there. They wake you up at 4:00 in the morning. You got to get a bunch of blood work done, do all these tests and everything, and just a bunch of crap, man. They got to look inside bend over, spread your cheeks, and all kinds of crap, man. I was the first guy in that room, and
sounds like prison.
Oh man. I walk in there, the guy's like back there looking. I'm like, hey, bud, you done yet? He's like, oh yeah, I'm done. He's like, hey, do me a favor though. When you walk out here with a limp and be like, hey, don't go in there, guys. Walking out like, oh man.
Did you?
Yeah, dude, I had them all freaked out, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, then after that, you just wait for your out date, and then September 8th is when I left for basic training. I had to go back up to Columbus, get on a flight, and fly you down to Georgia, and then stick you on a bus. You go to Fort Benning. That's where the infantry is, and yep, that's where all the fun begins. I was a little bit of a high speed type of guy, so it wasn't really too much for me. I was a troublemaker though. Me and my best friend Wes, to this day, he's my brother. Me and Wes, man, we be getting the whole freaking company smoked, man. We all be doing push ups, so doing stupid crap in formation. Like your AR or M4, it has like a hole in a pistol grip, so we'd stick our thumbs in there and we'd pop our thumbs out in formation.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is doing that? Yelling and screaming, like someone do that one more time. You're doing push-ups. We're like, all right, bet.
Yeah, you push it to the edge, right?
I helped push. I helped push Georgia into Florida, dog.
Was there a lot of people dropping out as you're going through this?
Yeah, I think my platoon. I think we started out with like 20-something guys, and 10 people dropped out within the first few weeks. Just people crying and stuff. And I ain't gonna lie, dog. I cried myself too. A few times. I'm like, dude, this sucks, man. I'm like, what did I sign up for? But I had too much pride in myself to give up. Like I just, once I set my mind to something, I got to go.
And then you got your buddies though. There, it starts to get like a brotherhood, like you said, right?
Exactly.
You don't want to let them down.
Right. And, I picked up an airborne slot when I was there. So many people were dropping out. They had all these extra schools and stuff after basic that you can go to. So I picked up an airborne slot. And, I was thinking, I'm like, okay, hell yeah. Instead of going to Fort Carson, Colorado, I'm going to go to like the 82nd or 101st or something,
You want to fly planes or something?
Jump out of them. So.
Yeah.
It was more money, So I was worried about that more money.
So you never jumped out of a plane until you go there.
Right. Yeah.
What was that like?
I was about to pass out, man, because I'm shuffling to the door. I'm like, and they tell you're like, hey, if you don't jump, like we're going to send you home with a letter never to return. And I didn't want that, And then there's this girl in front of me. She jumps out. And I'm like, dude, all right, I got to jump out now, dog. Like, yeah. And then you got to count on the way down, so you're counting like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Then you got to look up at to see if the chute deploys, right? I got the 1,000, dog, and I started screaming. I'm like,
yeah, but it seems like a long time when you're going through the air, right?
Yeah, man. Like, well, you drop 60 foot a second, before your chute deploys, and then once your chute deploys, it's like jumping out of like a 2-story window or something. That's how hard you hit the ground. But you'll be floating around up there for a while. You jump at like 1,200 feet, and you'll be up there floating around. But okay, this ain't so bad, Then the ground starts coming up, and I'm like, oh, fuck, dude, here we go again,
You're going through the clouds when you jump, or is it clear there?
Well, you can only jump when the sky has to be so high, like the ceiling. That's what they call it. So you're not jumping through clouds. You're jumping at 1,200 feet, because they want you to be as low to the ground as possible. So you're not up there dangling around getting shot at,
Yeah.
So it's not like, like that high speed special forces, like Delta Force stuff, where they're doing halo jumps at 20,000 feet. Now we're jumping at 1,200,
So the ground comes pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I landed like a second time, dog.
It is a hard landing?
Oh, yeah. Well, they teach you how to land and everything, but, like, that crap went out the window for me. It was like feet, knees, ass, man, like in my face. Bam. Just landed like, hit the ground hard,
So from there, where do you go?
So I was supposed to go to 82nd, I get my orders from the Sergeant Airborne, and I look at my orders and it still says Fort Carson. And I'm like, hey, like, Sergeant Airborne, like, what the fuck is this, dude? And he looks at it. He's like, huh, that's funny. He's like, get the fuck out of my face. I'm like, all right, dog. So I get on a plane, go to Colorado. What happened was they fenced me in for a deployment. So they already had me on the roster to go to Afghanistan.
What year?
2015, 2016. right around in there, you know. And I show up to my unit, Sergeant Major Sparger. Yeah, we call him Star Spangled Sparger. He was a character, but he's looking at me. He's like, "Hey, you know you ain't supposed to be here, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, no shit, dog." You know, he's like, "Well, we're keeping you anyway. You're going to Afghanistan." I'm like, "All right." Get to my unit, man. Yeah, I was just in a regular line unit at the time. You know, machine gunner. You know, I was a 249 machine gunner. I never shot that damn thing before. I shot 5 rounds through it in basic training. They handed me that. You know, I was a big dude. You know.
Yeah.
They handed me that thing. They're like, "You know how to use this?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Well, you're gonna find out real quick when we get over there." You know, I was there a total of 2 weeks. Then we deployed.
So you got to carry the machine gun around, or you got someone to help you with it?
No, when you're a 249 gunner, it's a squad automatic. That's what SAW stands for, squad automatic weapon. So I'm carrying all my ammunition. There's 1,000 rounds I had to carry, 2 spare barrels, you know, then on top of that, all my water, my food.
Yeah, but the SAW is a badass gun, right?
Oh yeah. Well, most guys, they hated it because it would jam all the time. Man, mine ran like butter. Like that thing, it would never jam on me. You know, I was a bad dude on that thing too.
Cut things right in half.
Yeah.
I took a picture with one before.
Yeah. It's a bad gun, man. And then you know, I'm over there in Afghanistan, and I was in Helmand province, and it was a hot area, you know, a lot of IEDs and stuff. The Taliban down there, they weren't nothing to play around with, you know. Like my first sergeant used to say, all the dumb ones are dead. I already killed them all. So, you know, we went out there, did our thing, and you know, we didn't lose anybody, thank God. You know, thank God we didn't lose anybody. But you know,
was it what you thought it would be before you went? Did you think it would be something different?
I was scared. You know, I was really, really scared. I didn't know what I was walking into. You know, my uncle, he was in Iraq a bunch of times. You know, he did a lot of time over there in Iraq, and I would talk to him about it. I'm like, "Hey, like, how do I like prepare myself for this?" He was like, "Well, the best thing I can tell you is that you're already dead, and you ain't gonna come back home." And I'm like, "Yeah, really?" He's like, "Yeah, it's the best thing I can tell you." And when I got over there and I was getting into it, you know, like I understand what he was saying, because if you keep harping on that and you keep thinking about it, you know, you're not focused on the mission. That goes out the window for you. Like, you know, you don't give a, you know, a crap about living or dying, you know. And then when I was over there, my old lady, she was pregnant and stuff, you know, like, so like my son was born when I was over there. I had to watch him be born on FaceTime.
That sucks.
Yeah, to get, you know, like they didn't give me, like, it's supposed to be a written rule, like what your firstborn child, if you're deployed or not, you know, like you go home to see your son, you know, your child be born. But we're you know, like we were so low numbered, and you know, like we just had too much stuff going on, like it wasn't feasible, you know, it wasn't possible for them to be able to do that, you know, because, you know, we were all needed. But yeah, man, like when I was over there, like, you know, I seen the snipers and stuff, man. I'm like, you know, I'm doing 12 hours of tower guard, you know, I'm doing these long ass patrols and walking around. It's 130 degrees outside and humping this machine gun around. And then I see the snipers, and they're not doing 12 hours of tower guard. These guys are working out, eating, you know, going to the gym, like going on cool guy missions and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, when I get back, that's what the fuck I'm doing, you know? Like, I don't know about y'all.
Are you able to switch like that?
Yeah, they have scout tryouts. So yeah, when I got back for deployment, tryouts for scouts came up, and my platoon was PO'd. You know, like they were pissed, dog. Like my platoon sergeant, he's like, Walker, I want to tell you right now, like, he's like, if you go try out and you don't make it, you come back here, I want to F your world up. I'm like, dude. I'm like, all right, you know.
Got no choice but to make it now.
Yeah. There's like, I don't know, I think around 100 guys that tried out for that, and they only took in 20. Yeah, it was a tryout, man. Like they tested you, you know, because with that, you know, being a, you know, recon sniper platoon, you don't have the luxuries that a line unit has. You know what I'm saying? Like you're out there, you're humping it, you know. Like you're using your Lamborghinis, your Chevrolets to get everywhere you go. You know what I'm saying? And then you're out there for days on end, sitting in the same spot. Like it's not, hide in a freaking bush, or we dug a subsurface hide site, so we'd be underneath the ground.
And you can't even get up to take a or anything, right?
Nah, homie, nah.
What do you do? Lay it down?
Yeah, you just kind of roll over to your side and.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey, I did it.
What do you dig a hole to sit there?
Yeah, dog. I did the damn thing, man. My boy Wes, man, that I talked about before from basic training, he went through the whole thing with me. Like we, both deployments, everything. Me and that dude were side by side. Like, I cuddled that dude for warmth. That was my dude, man. And the second deployment came around, went on that. I wasn't even supposed to go because I was getting out. They all told me, oh no, you ain't going, man. You ain't going. I'm like, all right, cool. And then time comes around, they're like, hey, bud, you got 10 days. You're going back to Afghanistan. I'm like, all right. I mean, I guess that's where God wants me, so.
Were there other people getting killed around you?
I've never lost anybody. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're smoking dudes out there. That second deployment was pretty rough too. And we were like the point of that war, Trump signed a peace treaty with the Taliban. So we signed an agreement like, hey, like we're gonna give you this province. If give us 24 hours to pull out his province, we'll give it to you. That's gonna be your own little area. They didn't give us 24 hours. Everyone's celebrating and stuff. I'm like, man, I don't know why you guys are celebrating. Like, you think these guys are going to follow that? Like, nah, dog. Then that night we're getting freaking rocketed and mortared and all kinds.
So they're shooting into your base.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They went into that province. They didn't even give us 24 hours to pull out, man. And they slaughtered everybody in there. The government officials, the Afghan government officials, and, just everybody. They slaughtered everybody, and then the next day they were going to hit Maimana, so they spun my platoon up. There's like 20 something guys in the platoon. They spun us up, stuck us on a C-130, and flew us into Maimana. And we flew to a different base, got on Chinooks during the broad freaking daylight, man. Like, didn't make any goddamn sense to me, And they're telling us like, oh yeah, they got anti-aircraft guns. Just so you know. I'm like, okay, so we're flying in during the day. Makes sense to me, bud. And we're flying in there, and you see RPGs flying, and helicopters going like that. People are puking all over the place.
It's nerve-wracking, right?
Oh yeah, dude. The door gunners are opening up with the 50s and all kinds of crap. And I've already been so numb to it. I'm just like sitting there like, oh, all right, do. Like, okay, if I die, I die. It is what it is. But
other people's reactions way different, right?
Yeah, the new guys, yeah, the new guys. But I told them all, like, I trained them very well. I called them my little minions. I trained them up pretty well, man. And I told them, I was like, dude, this unit that you're in, like it's a no nonsense unit, man. Like we go in and we take care of it and get out, So we got into Maimana. It's like a fishbowl, mountains all around. We're just in a small little base. And yeah, you can look up at the horizon up on top of the mountains, and you can see them all standing there. They counted over 1,000 Taliban, and there's only 20 of us. Yeah, so it was pretty gnarly, But we had like special forces there with us, and like some Rangerback guys and some SEALs. Them guys were freaking hardcore. They fly in and go do some crap and then fly right out. And you can watch it on a camera. They'd be like.
And if you have to, can you call airstrikes to the people on the mountain?
Dude, we had everything there. Like we had a full bird colonel with us, and he was flying in everything, like B-1 Lancers, A-10 Warthogs, jets, all kinds of crap, but it was just, and I was supposed to leave in 9 days. And I walk up to him like, hey, sir, like, I'm supposed to be going home in 9 days. Like what's the possibility of that?